On top of a thin dough layer, Lahmacun is made with ground beef and various vegetables. It's served with fresh vegetables or herbs and lemon juice after it's been baked to a crisp perfection. Turkey's version of Lahmacun is a very popular dish across the globe, with establishments in the United States being among the most popular sellers of the Middle Eastern dish. The word Lahmacun comes from the Arabic lam, meaning meat, and mashun, meaning paste. This meat paste is the meat and vegetable mixture that is finely chopped and spread all over the dough. At least 5,000 years ago, Lahmacun's origins could be traced back to the days of ancient Babylon, where historical records indicate that the dish was originally made with bread. A thicker meat sauce combined with a thinned dough created the flatbread dish that we're all familiar with today. In particular, the Tatars were known to prepare their meals with thin bread topped with a mixture of meat and cheese that's been around for millennia in the Middle East. The dish's name, Lahmacun, derives from a description of the dish's basic ingredients, dough and meat topping. Syrians used this recipe in their early Levantine cuisine. The Turkish cuisines of Urfa and Antip have two distinct ways of preparing Lahmacun, both of which can be found in traditional recipes. Onions are part of the Urfa recipe, while garlic is part of the Antip recipe. Argentina's version of Lahmacun is known as empanada árabe, and it's shaped like a triangle. Evliya Alibi, who traveled to Damascus in the 17th century, wrote the famous travelogue Seyahatnam and described the exact method of baking this dish. He described eating lahmacunil borik, which later became known as Lahmacun, because of the thin layer of dough. Alibi originally called it borik. Anlurfa and Gaziantep are located close to Damascus, so the dish spread quickly because of its proximity. In spite of the fact that the dish was not widely consumed outside the Ottoman Empire, the idea was brought to the Americas by immigrants in the late 1800s. Argentina and Brazil have adopted the Latin name Sfiha for this dish as a result of the influence of the South Americans. After years of spreading throughout Turkey, this southeastern delicacy became so popular in the 1960s that long lines formed outside restaurants across the country. In its most basic form, Lahmacun is a calorie-dense dish that's typically served as a side dish, believe it or not. Carbohydrates make up the majority of the meal, followed by protein and fat. The modern Lahmacun recipe suggests substituting lower fat and lower calorie ingredients for high fat and high calorie ones due to the wide variety of vegetables and other ingredients that are typically used. While Armenians claim Lahmacun as their own national dish, Gaziantep and Anlurfa in Turkey disagree on the dish's origins, with the former claiming it originated in their region specifically. And interestingly, as a result of this feud, the Turkish Patent and Trademark Office granted patents to both regions. If you've not tried this yet, it definitely might be time to. When the dish is brought to you, use all the lemons that they provide. Squeeze them and watch the juices flow all over the meat. And then once all squeezed, roll it like a fine Persian rug being prepared for transport. And then enjoy. Your taste buds will forever remember that moment. Just make sure to have the proper amount of lion's milk on hand to make the time well spent. These are Interesting Things with JC.